Have you ever thought about how a whole life can just pivot? Not on some huge dramatic event, but on something tiny. Something as simple as a single word. Today, we're going to dive into a story that shows exactly that, how one small word can literally change everything.
And that idea is really at the heart of what we're talking about. It's a story about a young boy named Arun. And it's a powerful reminder that sometimes the smallest things, like one single word, can kickstart a change that lasts an entire lifetime.
All right, so let's meet Arun. Picture this. He's a quiet kid living in a house that just feels heavy with silence. He's not a bad kid, not a star student. He's just kind of lost. And in his house, success is only measured in trophies and top grades, which means Arun, well, he feels pretty much invisible. And this really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? On one side, you've got his siblings bringing home prizes, getting all the praise. And on the other side, there's Arun. His report cards just say average. You can just imagine how that constant comparison would make anyone feel totally worthless.
Wow. So these were the words Arun heard over and over from his own father. And when you hear something like that enough times, you start to believe it. Every single time he heard it, it was like another heavy stone dropped right into his heart. So he just withdrew. He stopped raising his hand in class, he stopped playing, he just stopped dreaming.
But then, someone walks in who's about to change the entire game. A new literature teacher, Mrs. Mira. She just had this different energy, Kind eyes, a gentle way of speaking. She didn't just see a list of names. She saw the actual kids sitting behind the desks.
So get this, she asks the class, what makes you feel alive? While all the other kids are yelling out, cricket or movies. Mrs. Mira notices Arun sitting there in complete silence. And instead of calling him out for not participating, she gently asks him directly. For the first time, maybe ever, someone was actually curious about what was going on inside his head.
And then she gives him this assignment. It's so simple, but it's huge. Not some long essay, not a big test, just one word. And this one little task sends Arun on this incredible journey to find a single word that could somehow, some way, define him.
So that night was a real turning point. Arun couldn't sleep. He's just sitting there with his notebook trying to pull one single word out of this tangled mess of feelings inside him. He was really, truly searching for a little bit of light in all that darkness.
And his first thoughts? They went exactly where you'd expect them to go. He thought of words that were basically his daily reality. Sadness, failure, fear. These were the labels he felt like everyone else had stuck on him, and the ones he'd started to stick on himself.
But then, his eyes land on this old, beat-up poster on his bedroom wall. It was a picture of a sunrise, and underneath it, just one word, hope. And in that 1 second, something just clicked. He realized that through all of it, the criticism, the bad grades, the silence, he never actually stopped. He still got up every single morning, he still went to school, he still tried. And that was hope. The next day, when he showed the word to Mrs. Mira, her reaction, well, it changed his world. She didn't just nod and say, good job. She validated it. With those words, she gave his feeling a name and she gave it power. For the very first time in his life, Arun felt like someone finally, truly saw him. Okay, so this newfound feeling starts to grow, right? It's like a little seed. Weeks go by, and with Mrs. Mira cheering him on, Arun starts writing, starts finding his voice on paper, and all of this leads to the ultimate test, the big school speech competition.
Can you just imagine the terror? He's up on that stage, hundreds of eyes staring at him, his palms are sweating, his mind is totally blank. He's facing the one thing he always ran from, an audience. But in that moment of pure panic, he remembers his anchor, and he just whispers that one word to himself, hope.
And then he starts to speak. Not with words he memorized from a book, but with his own. He defines hope based on his own life, and in doing so, he connects with every single person in that room who's ever felt like giving up. This line right here, this is the core of his whole transformation. This is the battle he's been fighting inside himself for years, finally put into words. It's the quiet voice of his teacher against the loud shouting of his father. And he ends with this absolute powerhouse of a declaration. He's not saying he's the best or that he's perfect. He's just claiming his right to keep trying, to stay in the game. It's just such a profound statement of self-worth. The applause, they said, was just thunderous. And it wasn't just because it was a good speech. It was for the raw, honest courage that everyone in that room just witnessed. In that moment, Arun won something so much more important than a trophy. He won back himself.
So fast forward years later, we get to see just how much that one day on that stage really mattered. This wasn't just some fleeting moment of high school glory. It was the actual foundation that Arun built the rest of his life on.
His journey is pretty remarkable. From that quiet, lost little boy, he becomes a published author, an inspiring speaker, sharing his message with thousands. But wait, the story doesn't quite end there. After giving a talk at his old school, this quiet little boy comes up to him, and he has that same look of self-doubt that Arun once had. And what does Arun do? He doesn't give him a lecture. He gives him the same gift Mrs. Mira gave him all those years ago, a challenge to find just one word. And the boy's word? Believe. The circle is now complete.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that words have real weight. They can be like stones that sink you, or they can be the seeds that help you grow. And the words that change us the most aren't the loudest ones, are they? They're the ones that are spoken with kindness, the ones that we feel deep down. And it leaves us with this final thought. What if we all have a little bit of Mrs. Mira in us? The power to offer the right word at just the right time. So think about it. What's the word that you hold on to? And maybe more importantly, what's a word you could offer to someone else that might just change everything for them?